That was a very aggressive hey for some reason.
Hey!
We're playing some Mega Man 7 today.
I want to mash it.
Options. Button configuration.
No, do filter.
Huh, auto fire, that's interesting. Well, it's in an official Capcom release, so it's not cheating.
Dude, apply a filter.
I'm not applying a filter.
No, do it. It's good. I'm sure. Do like Super Eagle 2.
Alright, so Mega Man 7
filter.
is a game that I think everyone, even Mega Man fans, kind of overlooks for whatever reason.
It's good.
But, yeah, I played this game a lot this week. I have a lot of appreciation for this game.
I'm excited.
The only bad thing about it is what you're seeing right now. There's a lot of unskippable, unspeedupable cutscenes. And, it's pretty much the worst thing about this game.
Bump, 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 bump.
So I actually watched a interview with the producer or director of this game. It's on Game Informer. If you look up like Game Informer Mega Man 7 interview, they go into like detail about the development cycle for this game. Can you believe that this game was made in 3 months?
No.
Only 3 months.
What?
He said that specifically. And
yeah,
like,
I can tell.
I looked at this game and like I was actually talking to it online.
I'm just kidding.
And I was like, man, this game looks like it was like so much effort and like they put so much hard work into it. Because this game looks great. And no, it's literally 3 months.
And the music's pretty good too.
Well, you think about it, it's like, you know, this is the only Super Nintendo, like, actual Mega Man entry. It's like the only mainline entry, and like, yeah, the aspect ratio is kind of weird. Like, everything's kind of big.
Yeah, sprite size is a little bit too big. That's
like,
in terms of visual, even though they're too big, it also makes the game look gorgeous. I think this.
Yeah, no, it looks
I think this
great.
game looks way better than Mega Man 8 even.
Okay, I don't know about that.
I
Let's
think
not
so.
get crazy.
I think I just
right?
I don't like Mega Man 8's very like cartoony.
Alright,
like-
Trevor's off the deep end here.
No, I agree with Trevor. I think it looks great. The sprite-based stuff will always...
No, it looks great,
I
but
think 8 looks
compared to
great.
Mega Man 8,
I don't know.
Mega Man 8 also looks great, and it also has a lot of fluid, like, animations, and it also, like, has a great sense of, like, how cartoony it is. Like, just the animations, like, the sprites and everything are like, really, like, they really embody, like, a certain, like, cartoonishness, like,
Yeah.
a sort of...
And I'm not saying that this game is like pretty or
Yeah.
realistic, but
Well, I know, like...
I prefer the visual style of this game.
It's just kind of, like, I would say, like, 8 is leaning a little bit more into the fact that, like, it is still the original Mega Man, and it is, like, you know, increasingly becoming somewhat antiquated as far as, like, aesthetics go. So it's, like, kind of... It's almost like a Hanna-Barbera, like, cartoon or something, or like, Bugs Bunny or whatever. It's
So
just
this
like,
is... Oh, sorry.
No,
This is base,
go ahead.
right?
This is base. This is the first time you actually ever see him, and he just shows up and you fight him.
Yeah, but what I would say is it just kind of like it kind of like folds into like a sort of like cartoonish realm, like not.
Yeah.
Whereas X like kind of goes more into like, you know, it never goes into like that area where it's like cartoonish. It's more like this somewhat serious like series.
Yeah. Alright, so first stage is pretty much, I would say, the scariest stage. Not only do you have nothing, but also this stage is hard and the boss is hard. So, yeah, the first 2 stages of this game is pretty intimidating because they're very difficult. And then the game gets a lot easier.
Look at that bear though. That is a great sprite. It's massive.
Yeah, the bear looks amazing, but the problem is that it takes like 15 pellets to kill it, so it's just not worth doing.
So just literally
But it
tank the
looks
hit.
great. Which is the important thing.
I mean, graphics over everything, right, boys?
How does a speedrun handle this?
By going fast.
I assume they don't tackle this first, actually.
I'm pretty sure I'm doing 100%, and I'm pretty sure 100% does the stage first.
Oh, you looked at the 100% route.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% is the only way to go.
You pretty much have to do the stage first, because we're going to get Rush Search, which gives us some shop items for free, which includes a very expensive item. But yeah, we're pretty much using Rush Search immediately.
So that's cool.
Definitely my favorite enemy. The one where you just have to wait for forever. I know it has a specific name. I feel like I should know it.
Alright, so this part's kind of scary. I'm going to use Rush. You don't need to use Rush, but it makes it a lot simpler.
And what is that?
This is Rush Search, like I was saying.
Oh, cool.
So that lets you, when you select it, Rush will dig into the ground like a dog and find random items, but if you use it in very particular spots, you'll get good items.
Oh my god. I was actually very curious before Trevor booted up the PS4 to play on Legacy Collection 2. I was actually curious what he was going to play on. But I'm usually the original guy, even though it's like a lot of times worse in every way.
Yeah, so this game...
Well, I mean, it's true, but he has save states, it saves, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so on original hardware, I was actually playing this on original hardware, and this game lags a lot. Especially with using some of the so we got the exit capsule, that lets you exit any stage, so that's cool.
Is that part of 100%, or is that just a
yes,
item?
You have to get everything. Alright, so, one thing about this game, charge shots take forever to charge. So I'm going to be doing this just with pellets. So this guy kind of reads your inputs, and every time you hit attack, he jumps. So I want to time it so he jumps, and then I can slide under him. I do have an E-Tank, so it's very rare for me to do this without using E-Tank, because it is hard. I have to hit him like 28 times or something.
I mean, you know,
Lord.
I don't actually... I don't see that just like looking at you play. It's like, you know, how does this guy use an E-Tank on this? Because he's doing so damn good.
Well,
He's a pro!
it's because you have to hit him 28 times, and
Look
every
at
time
him.
he
I'm
hits
doing-
you...
I'm telling you, like,
This is a pretty cool boss,
I'm being
too.
very complimentary.
Also,
Yeah.
no E-Tank. GG.
No E-Tank run.
Nice!
We love it.
Because
Save
I didn't do that
Bottom
stage
left
super
corner.
good, so that makes me feel better.
That was like inspired AI, like certain of the Mega Man games you would just kind of see.
Yeah.
Like we just saw Mega Man X5 and X6
I
where
will
like
say-
the AI just stands there. and
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
will say that that's unfortunately probably the most advanced AI in the entire game. So this is another
Cool.
thing where I can't skip this or speed it up. So every time that you get it, it's like explaining it. So some of the weapons are... Some weapons do have like secondary functions, which is nice to explain, but it's not like they tell you how to do it.
Dude, shut up, Mr. Light.
You mean Thomas?
Thomas Light.
It's Thomas Light. We mentioned it in what was the game we played last?
Alright, so this is the
X.
dedicated water stage, and there's lots of spikes
7.
and raising water.
No.
Eight.
What was the one we played last time? What was the last one you played? X4? No.
Mega Man Extreme.
Powered Up. No. And Mega Man.
Maverick Hunter
Mega
X.
Man Extreme 2.
Maverick Hunter X. Yeah, go watch that. In fact, if you check, if you go into our playlists, we literally have one big playlist dedicated to only the original Mega Man games, which mostly I played, but this is obviously Trevor's playing this one, and the X games, which I believe only Trevor played.
Yeah, once I finish this game, I've done 7, 8, 9, and 10. Spencer likes to do the classics, so...
I think I did the first 4. I still have to do 5.
Yes.
I was thinking about, like, maybe bringing a game this week, but I was also thinking about it, like, in the 2 hours before we started.
Yo, Trev, you'll find this minorly funny. I was like, we were talking to George when we were leaving, and I said to Ben, I was like, I always invite George, but he never comes to LPs, and he's like, well, I wouldn't even know what game I would play, and I was like, I'm sorry, George, you think you're just gonna roll in here and play?
Even I.
You think you're gonna roll in here and just play a game week 1?
Even
Like,
I, just
bruh.
week 1, didn't play a game. Can you believe me?
I mean, when we have first time guests over, we usually have like a multiplayer
Games
game.
Master Board.
like a 4-player game or like a Mario Kart or whatever, but George was like, I wouldn't even know what game I would play. I was like, George, you are a funny man. Hey George, what game are you playing? You get a whole hour dedicated. No.
George.
No.
Oh, George, you are so funny.
We had many longtime LPers that never played a game, like Ian
Yeah,
Brandon.
long time.
or
I'd say
Austin.
Brandon,
I think
but
Austin did it one time.
He actually never played a game.
I don't think
that
Austin
was
ever
present
played.
for.
Brandon played games, but by the end he would just not practice them, and it was like very tough to watch because we probably mention it on most videos, but like unless we specifically go into a game saying this
We love
is
Brandon, by
this
the
is a
way.
let's try, Like, for instance, Game Boy Theaters, unless otherwise noted, are Let's Tries, because we're just messing around with them. But a game that I'm going to play to completion, I practice at least twice over the course of the week to get ready for it, and I'm sure Trevor's the same way. Like, he didn't just pop in Mega Man 7 and was like, I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's...
And Brandon was getting really, really bad at just being... Like, he did that Mario, what was it, Star Road? Like, the ROM hack from Mario 64, and, like, didn't practice it at all, and was like, I don't know where...
No!
Ah, dang. He was like, I don't know...
I got greedy.
He was like, I don't know where anything is. And
that's because Trevor didn't practice here. And
an entire... Oh,
we're
stop.
seeing here.
An entire 40-minute part for Brandon would be him getting, like, 1 star, and we were like, Brandon, please. Or remember Luigi's Mansion? Brandon did Luigi's Mansion and did, like, 1 sit-down, and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then he just stopped it, and then Trevor did it, like, 3 years later, and, like, 100% of the game in, like, 2 sit-downs or whatever. So... We love you, Brandon, but
never come to LPs again.
If you're gonna come to LP, or like Nick and Ben, they pre-record their stuff because it's PC, and literally like have it pre-recorded and are ready to go. It's not like Nick is just playing that. What the heck is that? No, what the heck's that?
Guilt.
GYLT on Stadia. Like he has it like all pre-recorded.
I didn't see that.
Well, you will.
I did. I remember like when when I started StarCraft, like it was like I was doing it like.
There's no reason because I have to wait for this to be on the upswing. So even if I used Rush, I wouldn't have saved any time.
When I was playing StarCraft, like I was definitely doing like the first parts like in person because I was able to do it.
But then it gets so hard.
Yeah. I felt myself like not being able to like keep up with the commentary and like what I was doing, so I was like, okay, I should start recording these, and that's when I started doing it. And
I tell Trevor sometimes I'm like, I should just like the hard games, like when I play retro games and I'm like really worried about messing up. I'm like, dude, one of these times I'm just gonna pre-record it. But there is a little bit lost to that, because when you weren't here, but a couple weeks ago I did Super Mario Land for Game Boy Theater and I played it the whole way through.
And you keep talking about it,
and
you
seriously,
keep asserting that it's hard.
Seriously, Super Mario Land is a hard game. Go watch it. It's only like a 30-minute episode.
I don't have to watch it. I've played the game. It's not hard.
Ben's Master Gamer.
Okay. No, he's Master GameCuber.
Okay, that's right. No.
Dude, Mario... Question of the part, is Super Mario Land 1 a hard game?
No, it's notoriously short. It's notoriously
It is notoriously
easy.
short, but it is not notoriously easy. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No fight arena.
It's notoriously short for sure.
I beat it.
That's it. I'm leaving to throw my gum out.
I was like 10 years old. I was in Walt Disney World. I was surrounded by like happiness. I was surrounded by theme parks. I was surrounded by happy avatars. These grinning, just
10-year-olds have a penchant for just being able to do anything they want in video games because it's their entire life. It's their entire life.
The first time in my life I focused.
Oh my god.
And I said, I am going to beat the kind of
Alright, I'm gonna call Nick and ask him if that actually happened.
Stage 3, which is the Asia themed stage.
That is the last one for what it's worth.
The 4th stage then. Because there are only 4.
Although, to be fair, it was made by Japanese people, so...
And they still made it really insensitive to Chinese people specifically.
I guess that's true. Well,
they had the hopping vampires, which are a Chinese thing.
Yes, what are those called? We were trying to figure that out last time.
Okay, the first word that came to mind is Quijibo, and that's not right.
It's a Quijibo.
It is Quijibo.
They're large, hairless apes, or...
No, it's, God, where's Dr. Sparkle when you need him?
Not making Nintendo.
Because that's where I learned this.
Hey, it's not like... Did Dr. Sparkle make a single video in the last 3 months when he had literally nothing else to do but make videos?
I follow him on Twitter. He's doing stuff.
What, like top 10 prog albums of 2020?
Yeah, and that'll be out within the next 3 months.
It's okay, Dr. He just got too deep into too many projects, and it is what it is.
Dude, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna look it up.
Hopping vampires?
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing, because I actually never knew it was a thing until I saw it in, like, multiple games. even Trev, remember Fear Effect 1 has like very heavy, like whatever that is at the end when you're in hell. What's it?
Jiangxi.
Jiangxi.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize when I was younger that like almost the entire game for Blood Will Tell, which I played within the last couple months, is literally just like Japanese like folklore.
I mean, that's obvious.
I really didn't even know that back then. I should have, but yeah, the entire game, every single enemy, I had no idea it was so deep. Every single enemy is like, this is a Japanese folklore thing.
Okay, so here we're meeting Proto Man. You have to meet him 2 times to unlock a super secret fight, but he just tells you very basic information.
It's been a while, Mega Man. Here's how he said it.
It's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah. Dang
we
it.
go.
Dang it. I was gonna do that. Man. Ben got to do It's Been a While. I don't even know what song that's from. I just know that it's
No,
been a while.
That's the name of the song.
Is it It's Been a While?
I don't know. Who does it?
I have no idea.
It's been a
Hey,
while.
please.
Alright,
Alright, hold on. Hey Siri. Who does that song that goes, It's been a while? Hello? Hi. Great. Okay, who does that song that goes, It's been a while?
Since I've been hold my head up high. It's been a while since I've been.
It's too loud in this room for it to pay attention to me.
Shazam.
Alright, so this is actually
Shazam
he's
it.
a boss with a weakness. Pretty much a instant
Good.
win.
Let's go.
I love this one. Stained.
Okay, Stain sounds right.
Since I couldn't hold my head up high.
It's been a while.
Dude. Remember, Trevor, remember Stained? The band Stained? S-T-A-I-N-D?
No.
They're like, when I was in high school sports, which I was, by the way, not a big deal. That was like the band
Which
and
sport was that?
fuel.
Which sport was that?
Baseball and golf. Thank you. 2 varsity letters.
Very good.
Not a big deal. I mean, I'm glad I didn't play.
is.
I'm
It
glad
is
I didn't
not a
play
big deal.
football, so I like have only 2 concussions in my life. So that I know of. What was I saying?
Jesus, like, what if... Wait until you get Nicholas here. He'll tell you about how, like, someone implanted a tooth in his forehead.
What?
He was playing soccer and he got, like, a kid's tooth in his forehead somehow.
And that was just last year too.
That was just last year in, probably 1998.
Nah, Nick just does pickup games
Or
of soccer.
2000, something like that. Maybe, it might have been pre-9/11.
Anyway,
If only he knew what was coming.
Stained and Fuel, all
Yeah.
those bands were
Puddle
like
of Mud,
Puddle of Mud.
who are still
What's that
at
band
it.
that does the She Hates Me?
That is Puddle of Mud.
Is that Puddle of Mud?
That's
Okay.
Puddle of Mud.
And then
they're still at it. Let me tell you.
Drowning Pool. Those were all the ones that were played in the weight room, and let me tell you.
Oh, look at that. The secrets.
Alright, so we actually got all the Rush
Nice.
plates. So we have a Rush adapter, which is like a combination of Mega Man 6's flight and power.
Oh, so
You died on purpose,
Yeah,
obviously.
that was intentional death. The upper path is just way easier.
Yeah, so I've heard enough Fuel
it's been a while
Stained.
since I've been
In my life.
Got my Rush plates collected. I don't know. There we go.
Yeah.
Cut that.
So, yeah, Rush
Okay, I'm
adapter.
gonna edit that 1 second. Great.
Rush adapter in this game is really, really good. Like I said, it's the combination of Mega Man 6's power and fly adapter in one. And they nerf the fly part, but they buff the power part, and it's really, really good. We won't see it for a little bit,
I remember that's
but
good.
especially the Wily stages, I'll be using it constantly.
What is
'cause-
that?
Nice.
Oh, that's Rush Dead.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
We'll be
question,
using that literally immediately.
question the part number 2. Would you respect the band Puddle of Mud
Okay.
more if it was Puddle of Mud with 1D or 2Ds.
2Ds.
Because I'm pretty sure it's 2Ds. Well, let me ask you this as a follow-up question. What if it was Puddle of Mud, but Puddle was 1D and Mud was 2Ds? Like it was PUDLEMUDD.
I'm gonna have to meditate on that.
I'll get back to you next week. Yeah, like literally Ben thinks about it all week, then sits down next time. Hey everyone, we're doing whatever game. Hey, I just want to let you know that PUDLEMUDD, that's the way to go.
I
What?
don't respect that, actually.
You don't respect
I
it.
don't respect it.
So just 2Ds. Puddle, Mud.
I want 2D squared.
Hey, remember D2?
Yes.
If only you were here for that Kino Fest.
And Enemy Zero.
I probably.
Is that the same series?
I LP'd D2, by the way. Yeah, Enemy Zero's.
You did D and D2.
Yep, I still have to do Enemy Zero. Problem is, hold on, here's a humble brag. Trevor, get ready for this. I own Enemy Zero on the Sega Saturn, but it's sealed, so I have to get a copy for playing.
Oh yeah, I remember when I was like, hey, can you play Enemy Zero? And he's like, it's sealed.
It's so hard to put it.
Did you get that from like?
Parker got it for me. He got it down at that game store down in Virginia when he would go back and forth. And he was like, here's your Christmas present. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, they just had it. And it wasn't like super expensive. He was like, it's what a used copy would be. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Oh, it's so hard to just burn a copy to a CD.
It reminds me when I bought
such advanced anti
Saturn, but it's 3 discs. So how am I going to do that? How am I going to emulate that on the Saturn? Do I have to use 3 CDRs? Come on.
Yes.
I'm not made of CDRs.
Who even has rewritable CDRs right now?
I'm actually. I think I threw a hole in my
Does Saturn have a good emulator? Is the good question. Does anyone even care?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure, like, because Saturn is just so weird, it just does not have a good emulator.
You're probably right. It probably has, like, if it has an emulator, it's probably like,
because,
oh, hey, half the games don't work.
And Trevor will know
Okay,
this.
so this stage right here is really, really weird.
I remember this.
This is just a museum, and it's only, like, one room long.
Oh, we know these guys!
But you should look up the Mega Man 7, like, I don't even know, museum medley, because this is actually a remix of, like, all 6 classic Mega Man themes in one. But the weird thing is that this stage is 5 seconds long, so...
Do you think they meant for it to be longer or
But
whatever?
yeah, the point of this is for, Wily to steal Gutsman, which we'll see later. I don't know why he doesn't just make another one, because Gutsman seems like a really, really simple robot, but nostalgia.
Okay, well...
Let's go over... Oh, I hate this guy. You can only hit him in the head.
Yeah,
so let me ask you something real quick, and that is, would you have Gutsman as... I mean, he became essentially the Reploid or the bad guy, like...
Yeah,
what would
Proto
you
Man
call
and
it?
Gutsman are definitely the most...
The mascot?
Mascots.
Would there
Other
be...
than Mega Man.
Would you pick another Robot Master to be the mascot over Gutsman? Because Gutsman in the first game, like... He has probably the worst boss.
Close.
I would say Cutman. I would say Cutman.
He would be the closest, but I think it's Gutsman.
I do really like Gutsman, but it's mostly because I just played so many Mega Man games. Like, Mega Man Battle Network, like, Gutsman is...
He's main in it, yeah, that's right.
Like, if you think of, like, any other boss from Mega Man 1...
Okay, so at this point, the game gets a lot easier because we have Junk Shield. Junk Shield is the thing we got from Junkman, and it's the best weapon in the game, possibly in the entire series. It just is so good. And now we also have Rush Adapter, so...
I'm actually... Oh, isn't there an Easter egg in this level where, like, depending on how you start the level, you get, like, different music or the Ghouls and Ghosts music?
If you hold down, in the Super Nintendo version, if you hold down B, it'll do the Super Ghouls and Ghosts music. But I actually tried it on this version. It seems like they removed it, or I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Huh. So if Mega Man 2... So clearly, if you're gonna have one bad guy be, like, the head bad guy instead of Gutsman, it would have to be from Mega Man 1 or 2. So the question then becomes, is there one singular boss from Mega Man 2 that you would, like, call that, if that makes sense.
I don't think so, because I don't think any of them actually, like, really stand out in the way that Gutsman did, because, like, Gutsman was, like, clearly, like, it's the one that we all remember for, like, one reason or another, but, like, in Mega Man 2, like, a lot of the bosses, like, there are so many good designs for the bosses that, like, none of them actually, like, end up standing out.
I'm gonna raise that and just say maybe Metal Man?
Yeah, but that's
just because his weapon's so OP.
Yeah. But, like, his weapon, like, when you said, like...
And if I can't say that, I might say... no, I was gonna say Bubble Man, but he's so lame.
When you say Junkman's weapon is, like, maybe the most overpowered weapon in the entire series, like, my first thought went to the Metal Blade from Mega Man 2, which is, like, what people traditionally think of as, like, a very, like, powerful, like, versatile weapon.
Let me, since we're dropping...
But that's the weapon, not the boss itself.
Since we're dropping hard truth bombs, like, for instance, Puddle of Mud is better with 1D instead of 2Ds.
No, it is 2Ds.
Let me just drop another truth bomb and say
2Ds.
Mega Man 2 is great, but Mega Man 3 and probably 4 are better.
I think you said that.
I've said it before, but I like to say it in every
6
video.
is better than 2 as well.
2's a great game.
Like
2's great. It really is. It's pretty clear that 5 is the worst of the original 6, and then 1 is so weird that you can't even really count it. But 3 is 2, but more.
Yeah. I remember 6 being like
I think 6 is very underrated.
I remember going over to Spencer's and Trevor's, because they both lived in the same place at that time. As children.
Oh, yeah.
And you were living in... I would go up to Spencer's room. He had the top loader NES. That's how I knew he was royalty.
I still do. It's right over there.
And I remember, like, basically the only game I remember seeing in that top loader...
Dude,
was
this is
Mega
so
Man 6,
overpowered.
was Mega Man 6.
I was actually telling Trevor the other day, for whatever reason, I was like... I think I was, like, talking about where I would put Mega Man 7 in the order of, like, how I like them. And I specifically mentioned, I was like, man, I don't know if I overrank 6 because of nostalgia, but I also
think 6 is great.
6 is really good.
I also it's not like I only played it 20 years ago.
People underrate 6, I think. I think people really underrate 6.
Alright, Trev, you do it first. Rank them 1... Let's not count 9 and 10 because they're so different. 1 through 8 in order, if you want to.
4, 6, 3...
And this is 4 is the best, right?
Yeah,
okay.
4, 6, 3, 7...
Woo!
2, 8, 5, 1.
I'm actually going to write this down so I can think about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's not fair to Trevor, but okay.
Well, no, but he's playing. He can't do it.
I mean, I'm pretty confident with my rating. Yeah, 3, 6... I don't even remember what I said now.
Okay, I'm thinking of this.
Hold on, I'm going to the notes.
Oh no,
now.
I said, yeah,
I'm
4, 6, 3, 7.
Okay, I think I got mine. You ready, Trev?
Yeah, dude.
This might anger a little bit of people, although it's not super crazy. So best, let's start with best. Best is 3, in my opinion, and I think Trevor said the same thing. I think 3 is just amazing. Or you might have said 4 first.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to clarify. Are we doing
just the first 8?
Oh, we're including 7
Yeah,
and 8.
why not?
Okay.
I don't include 9 and 10 because they're like retro, like redones, whatever. Anyway, so 3 number 1, 4 is number 2, then we have 6, then we have 2, then we have 7 because I think it's good but about middle of the road. Then we have 5, then we have 8, and lastly, the worst one is 1.
And just real quick, we're doing Rush Search right here. This gives us our powered up Rush Adapter Punch. So not only does it go full screen now, but it also homes.
Dang.
And you can only buy this from Auto's shop for 800 bolts, which is just a ridiculous number of bolts.
How much grinding would you have to do to get that amount of bolts?
I usually end up, like, when I finish the 8 stages, I buy some E-tanks, and I usually have about, like, 150 to 200 bolts.
Oh my god. Okay.
Alright, so here's the second Proto Man encounter. This is the last one. I'm pretty sure you need to have the rush plates by this point.
So yeah,
you can't slide.
That's my unpopular opinion of the part is Mega Man 1 is the worst of the first 8. I appreciate what it did, obviously starting the series, but it is a very weird, very janky. I mean, for goodness sake, it has a boss you cannot beat without a cheat or without cheating.
Whoa. That was so... Did you see that? I, like, glitched into the wall.
You know
and
what?
now I have to do the entire stage again. That's awesome.
You know what? Okay, so I have my list. And I was honestly torn on whether to put 1 at the bottom or not.
Okay.
Because it's like, it's the first entry.
Right, and you can't...
It's like the pilot of a TV show.
You can't fault it. I understand because of that. I get it. But... And I want to say I appreciate it. I appreciate what it did.
As I put it that way, as I put it like the pilot of a TV show where they like get their bearings later and they like kind of find their like style, their theme.
Are you saying?
And you know what? I'm reversing my original position. I'm changing it. Here's my list. Okay. Okay. Here it is. 3, 8, 7.
Do we all agree
6.
that 3 is the best then?
I think we do.
Did you
say?
say?
I said 4 is the best.
Okay. So I have 3, 8, 7, 6. 4.
Where the heck's 4? Oh my god.
2, 1, 5.
Okay, that's fair. Because 5 is it's funny because you would think 6
5 is very
You
funny.
would think 6 is awful because like it came after 5 and you would think they would phone it in. They phoned in 5 for sure, but they did not phone in 6.
5 is really like
it's just
5 is like
it's just
weirdly bad.
It's
just like not. It does feel like just completely phoned in.
Yeah.
There's like no heart in it.
So what Ben's saying is Mega Man 1 is essentially The Office Season 1, where you appreciate that it exists.
Yeah. You know what?
But
that's
when you rewatch it, you're like, oh, it's Season 1. Back when Michael had the hair slicked back.
Yeah.
And every single, you could have used that last time, huh? That extra life.
Yeah.
And every single episode was just literally just based off the British one. So
it's like, a band's first album. It's like a pilot episode. It's whatever.
I don't think that's a tough one because there's a lot of bands where their first album was the best.
Okay, Ben, do you honestly watch Seinfeld Season 1? Like, do you, sit down and enjoy it?
It's
I think Seinfeld Season 1 is bad.
Love Seinfeld, but Season 1 is tough. Like...
No.
It's tough.
It establishes the characters. That's the only good thing it does.
Yeah.
And that's my mindset.
And to be fair,
it
it was completely different from everything else at the time, but looking back, I'm sure even Jerry would be like, Season 1 is rough looking back on it. Just like Office fans think Season 1's rough. But the problem... Here's the problem with comparing premiere seasons of shows to premiere albums from bands. And actually, Parker brought this up to me, and I thought it was a really good point. I was talking to him about why Blue Album, and why so many bands, their first album is the best. It's because they were a band, hypothetically, for 5-10 years before then. And that was all of their young angst and power and whatever put into one package, right? Like, it was all their best ideas, all of however many songs they have, putting it together into their first package.
Okay, we're here again, though.
What? Oh yeah, he's getting an item here.
Yeah,
whereas
we're doing the secret Pro Man fight.
The first part of the first season, it's just like it's the thing you just built right then. It's not like The Office, all the characters were together for 10 years and they're like, let's make a show.
Well,
whereas for an album, it's like
it's
like
not
that.
Just a matter of the characters, it's a matter of the directors, the producers. Like, they've clearly made shows before too.
But not all together. Whereas that band,
they do have a blueprint.
But I'm saying
they're working from one because they're working directly from the British version.
Yeah, but dude, it's different because bands were together before that.
Okay, real quick, boss, if you fight if you defeat the inner portion, and it unlocks a different route, which is why it did something different. But continue.
What the heck?
So that's my opinion, and I do think it's mostly right because if you
real quick, Pro Man is only weak to the Mega Buster. This fight is boring and long. Everything else only does 1 damage. You can't even see his actual health bar.
So yeah. The like I said, I feel
exactly like the 3 fight. Right?
I feel like when you look
Except you can't. In Mega Man 3, you can just mash through it. This one, it's like you can't at all.
I feel like, Ben, when you look at bands and their albums,
Okay, well,
it's
now he's not
it's
doing
more
the
likely
pattern at all.
it's more likely for their best album to be the first one than like the third,
Yeah,
fourth,
like
or
Radiohead,
fifth.
right?
Uh-oh.
There we go.
I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't
there
happen.
We go.
Metallica's
Counter-example.
best album was their second. Megadeth's best was like their fifth. It happens for sure. But there's many bands like Weezer with Blue and The Strokes with Is This It?
No,
And just where just like they don't quite
What is Weezer's second album?
Pinkerton, but Blue's better.
Okay.
I can't risk it. It's probably like one
All
hit
right,
away.
a lot of Pinkerton fans out there just like hyperventilating.
I love Pinkerton. I've listened
Literally
to
one hit away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've listened to Pinkerton more than Blue, but Blue is perfect, and Pinkerton has minor problems. Sorry, it just
I'm going. Well, I mean, it's
this
all like
is
it's
your
all
Proto Shield.
Yeah, so the Proto
very
Shield,
dependent
it's a
on,
cool
like,
item, but it's pretty much useless. I won't be using it at all.
It is a cool, useless item. Thank you, brother. No, man.
And that's also kind of why video games are kind of more like shows, if it makes sense, where like I feel like the first one in the series is usually not the best.
like The Last of Us.
I mean, I'm playing The Last of Us, but please, I don't know if you know any spoilers. Don't say anything. Okay,
I
thank
never
you.
played the first and the second one. I just
But
wanted
like